Hi everyone, my name is Luke Rapaka and I'm one of the tutors at LearnFellow LLC. This is going to be the part two to the first part of ACT Math. So I'm just going through a practice test on the ACT website. It's 60 questions long and last time we got up till question 31. So today we're going to be resuming with question 32. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Four identical classes below, 1/4, 1/2. Okay, essentially it's asking to redistribute the volume of water in these glasses into all four of these glasses. So what we're going to do is just add up the volume. So 1/4 plus 1/2 plus 4/5. Then we get 1.55. Then we divide that by 4 for the four glasses. Let's turn that into a fraction. And we get 31/80ths. Nice. All right. Aurelio is purchasing carpet tiles to cover an area of his living room that is 8 1/3 feet wide by 10 feet long. Okay, so essentially we have this area, right? 8 1/3 by 10 feet, and we're asked to fill it with 20 by 20 tiles. So the first thing I'm going to do is convert these feet measurements into inches so we have the same unit. So 8 feet is 96 inches. 1/3 of a foot is 4 inches, so that's 100 inches. And then 10 feet, that's 120 inches. So that's the dimensions in inches. Then we're going to fill this with 20 by 20 tiles. Um, so what I'm going to do here is basically just do 100 divided by 20, and then I'll get 5. Do the same thing, 120 divided by 20, and I get 6. And why this works is because say you have the width, which is 100, 20 goes into 100 5 times, so that would be the width. And then similarly for the length, 120, and then 20 goes into 126 times, and then you do 5 times 6, which is 30. So that's your answer. All right, this should be easy. So, and standard x, y coordinate plane with it. Okay, so right off the bat, I know, so the radius has to be 9, right? And this last part, on the right side of the equal sign, I know that has to be 81 because the right side is always the radius squared. So the ones with 9, B, and D are canceled out. And the second thing is that when you have a circle, the x value and the y value, they need to be negated. So I can see that x minus 8, that's negative 8, and then the opposite of positive 8. And then similarly, negative 5, which is the opposite of positive 5. So I know A has to be my answer. All right. It's going to take a minute. Negative, human does not carry over to 77. Okay, it costs 2,500 to administer each YQ test and $50 to administer each the cost. Okay, so we're trying to find the cost to administer all the tests, and in the passage it says that both tests were administered to 1,000 volunteers. So simply, I'm just gonna take 1,000 multiplied by the cost of the first test, which is $2,500, and then do the same thing with the second one, $50 each. Then I can just take those two numbers and add it, and I get two, no, 2.55. So it would be this one. Okay. What percentage of volunteers actually carry YQ77? So I know in the passage, it says that the actual YQ test does show the results correctly, whereas the SAM77 says otherwise, like it's kind of right, kind of not right. So we're going to be taking um, these tests and then seeing like where there's a discrepancy. So I can see here, this is positive, this is positive. So, and then this is negative, but this is positive. So I know 25 has to be one of the numbers I'm adding. Oh wait, sorry, wait. Um, sorry, I don't know what I was thinking. So, sorry, percent of the volunteers that actually carry YQ77. So it would actually be 590 plus 25. So that would give us 615. Divide that by 1,000. Oops, 1,000. Oops, divide that by 1,000. And then we get 615, and then multiply that by 100, and you get 61.5%. Okay, so how many volunteers did the SAM 77 test give an incorrect result? So okay, for this one, oh, so this is kind of, sorry, this is what kind of what I was saying earlier for some reason. But so the SAM 77 is not exactly reliable, right? So what we're gonna see is where does one test say positive, whereas the other one says negative. So this is positive over here, and then this is negative. So 25 is gonna be one of them. And then this is positive, this is negative, so 10 is gonna be the other one. And then add those together, you get 35. So that's one of them. All right. One of the volunteers whose SAM 77 test was positive, 600. So that's 600. Um, will be chosen at okay, so will be chosen at random. That means that's gonna be the denominator. Um, to the nearest point 001, what is the probability the chosen volunteer does not possess YQ77? Okay, so we know that they don't possess YQ77 because this test says so. So that's 10. And then I'm just going to do 10 divided by the 600. And then I get that number, which is, okay, which rounded is A. So that would be the correct answer. All right, matrix question. So given matrix -1, 0, and y -2, -1, which of the following matrices is x, y? Okay, so you always multiply matrices row by column. So um, -2 times, sorry, -1 times -2, that's 2. And then 0 times -1, that's just 0. So you would get +2 here, and that would be your answer. Pretty simple. But yeah, actually, going back to this, I recommend you kind of look over this because matrices are one of those questions where like you're not exactly taught them in school until a little later, and a lot of students need to either brush up or learn the whole concept. So I recommend you kind of look over that. Obviously, this is like a really easy example, so I recommend that you learn more things like about them with determinants and other things like that. But yeah, moving on. Regardless of how the graph is oriented in the xy coordinate plane, vertical line of symmetry. Okay, so it can't be a line because if you have a horizontal line and you stick a vertical line through, it's going to be symmetrical. Square, put a vertical line down the middle, it's symmetrical. Pentagon, yeah, if you have a pentagon, you stick a line through the middle, it's still symmetrical. Parallelogram, same thing. Scalene triangle can't be because um, three sides and all the sides are different lengths and different angles and whatever, so that's the answer. All right. Two solution was the greater. Okay. So let's factor this out. It's 24x squared plus 2x. I'm going to subtract the 15 for both sides. Um, okay, I think this is factorable. Try 6, 4. And then let's do like 3, 5. No, that can, oh, it's the other way around. 5, 3. Okay, so um, okay, it has to be -3. Okay, so 20. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so our equation is going to be 6x plus 5 times 4x minus 3 equals 0. So our solutions are going to be negative 5/6 and positive 3/4. So the greater of the two solutions is 3/4, and so that's going to be your answer. Which of the following expressions is equal to? Okay, so I automatically know that it can't be these cosine ones because when you're expanding a sine with two parts like this, it always goes sine, sine, cosine, sine, sine, cosine, sine, sine, sorry. Um, so I know the cosine ones can't be it. I know, oh yeah, so I know it has to be D because when you're expanding a sine like this, um, so if you see this plus sign right here, this plus sign is the same as that plus sign always. If you're expanding a cosine, that sign would flip, but in the sign it just stays the same. So I know it has to be D. Okay. What is the area in square units of a circle as circumference of 12 pi? Okay. So let's find the radius first, right? So circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, and let's set that equal to 2 pi. I can divide the pi's out, so that leaves me with 2r equals 12. Divide the 2, and I get r equals 6. So I know that's the radius. Then I do pi r squared to get me the um the area of the whole circle. So then that would be 36 pi, and then yeah, that would be the answer. Okay, a barrel contains 25 liters of a solvent mixture that is 40% solvent and 60% water. Lee will add pure solvent to the barrel without removing any of the mixture currently in the barrel. Okay, so you're essentially trying to add an amount of solvent so that the ratio is 50%, 50%. Okay. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this out. So 25 times 0.4. This is going to give me the amount of liters of solvent currently in the barrel. And then if I do 25 times 0.6, this 15 is the amount of liters of water that's in the barrel. So what I'm noticing here is that, obviously the solvent is 5 liters less than the water. So if I just add 5 more liters of solvent, then I'll be left with 15 liters of solvent and then 15 liters of water, right? And so 15 divided by 30, that's 0.5, same thing as 50%. So I know that's the answer. All right, this looks like we're gonna have to combine these. Okay, so first thing, common denominator. So actually, I see if I multiply these, denominator, it's a difference of squares since one is a x plus y and one is a x minus y. So if you think about it, the denominator would be so like something over x squared minus y squared, right? And then for the top, you just multiply the opposite denominator, so then y times x plus y. That's equivalent to x squared minus xy plus y squared. And copy and paste this. And I know that these two can cancel out, so I can just take those out, and I'm left with this, and that's E. Right. Mary, James, and Carlos sold quarter-page advertisement for the school's yearbook. Mary sold twice as much as Carlos did. James sold 3 times as much as Mary. What fraction of these advertisements did Carlos sell? Okay, so I know that I don't need to like pay attention to this 1/4 because you're comparing like how much did each person sell, not like the whole amount. So yeah, I don't need to pay attention to that. So, okay, Mary sold twice as many as Carlos did. We'll call Carlos C. Carlos sold that much. Mary sold twice as Carlos. James sold 3 times as Mary. Okay, so first thing, what fraction of these advertisements did Carlos sell? Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna get these all to the same variable. So I know if m equals 2c, I can sub this in here, and then 3 times 2c is 6c. 6c. Okay, and then how much did Carlos sell? Well, we know Carlos sold c, and then in total there was 9c sold. I can then cancel out the um, variable up there, and I would be left with 1/9. So 1/9 would be the answer. Okay, in a window display at a flower shop, there are 3 spots for 1 plant each. To fill these 3 spots, Emily has 3 plants to select from a different type. Okay, so this is going to be a um, permutations question. And so basically, this means that um, you can't like just combine 3 into a group. They have to be in like in a certain order. Otherwise, it would just be a combination. So the formula for this is n factorial over n minus r factorial. So I know, I'll get rid of these. So I know there's 6 spots, right? So n is going to be 6. And then, since there's 3 spots, r is going to be 3. So, oh yeah, just sub that in. And then it gives me 120. So that would be my answer. This is also like matrices where Um, you're not exactly taught this for most people, so I would recommend also looking over this, making sure you have a solid understanding um, to differentiate the two and know when to use which formula, things like that. But let's move on to the next question. Okay, in terms of A and B, what is the area of MPQ? I don't think I need to read that, yeah. Okay. Okay, so I know I'm trying to find the area of the triangle, right? Area of the triangle fundamentally is 1/2 base times height. The base is this up here. So that's 4a, 1/2, 4, 4a. Height, that is 5b. So 5b. And then I can multiply this out. So that's 20ab times 1/2. That's 10ab. So 10ab would be my answer right there. And okay. Point M will remain fixed. So this is going to stay fixed. Q will move to the right along the x-axis. Okay. Q keeps going this way. As Q continues to move to the right, which of the following statements describes what will happen to the x slope? Okay, so if Q keeps moving to the right, slope would increase because it's becoming less steep, right? Okay, so no, that can't be it. That can't be it. That can't be it. Slope will increase, never be positive. That's true because for it to be positive, it would have to be upward sloping, but it's always going to be downward sloping, even if it no. Yeah, so that's good. And then yeah, I think that should be good. Okay, so D is the answer then. The quadratic function MPQ. Oh, okay, whatever. Same question. Oh, one of the following values is equal to 5a. 5a. So that would be, you just follow this parabola, and that would be 8b. And so yeah, that would be your answer. Okay, so moving on. Question 51. 12 jurors are needed for an upcoming trial. The diagram below illustrates 12 jurors will be selected from a jury pool of 60. Oh, okay. So essentially, 3 plus 6. Yeah. So we're trying to just work our way down so that after all these like one third and then like 40% eliminations, we're going to have um 60 people in this jury pool. So that's what we're trying to do. Okay, so I know that 45 and 90, I'm assuming, at least I'm pretty sure that they're not going to be it because I feel like after you take out 40% and then like a third or whatever, it's going to be like less than 60, so I don't think. So let's start at 150. Um, so 150, 40% people who are summoned actually appear. So that would be this one. So, okay, yeah, times zero point 0.4. Okay, then I get 60. Oh, but then I have to wait. And then 2/3 of them appear though. So if I, yeah, so if I multiply that by 2/3, it's gonna be less than 60. That can't be it. All right, let's try 225 next. Oh yeah, okay, so 90 times 2/3 is 60. So that has to be my answer. And the reason I got 1/3, I mean 2/3 that I'm multiplying it with, so it says of the people who appear, so we're right here right now, 1/3 are excused. So 1/3 of them end up in the queues, but the other 2/3 are in the jury pool, which is what we're trying to find. So by multiplying by the 2/3, I find the people who are actually in the jury pool, and then I get 225. Okay, what is the 275 digit after the decimal point? Okay, so these questions kind of show up kind of often, so I'd recommend this as something you would study. But let's go ahead and do this. So first thing I do, 275 divided by 4. So I'm doing 275 because that's what the digit I need to find. I'm doing 4 because there's 4 repeating digits right here. 6295. So what does this tell me? Um, I can go through this 6295. I can go through that 68 times. Um, and then this 0.75, that's like where the last number is essentially. So this would be like 68.25, 68.5, 68.75. And so 9 would be my answer. All right, given that x squared minus 4 and g's, what are the values? F of g of x equals 0. Okay, so essentially I need to find, um, okay, well, if you think about it, 2 squared and negative 2 squared are the only numbers that'll make f of x equals 0. So I need to find, I need to figure out how I can get this to equal positive 2 or negative 2. Start with the first one. Okay, negative 5 plus 3. Obviously negative 2. Okay, and then negative 1 plus 3. Boom. Okay, so that should be good. And then, yeah, that should be my answer actually, because those are the only two numbers squared that'll equal 4, and then this will equal 0. So, yeah, that's the answer. Okay, given that p is a positive number, n is a negative number, p is greater than n, which has the greatest value? Okay, so I'm just gonna play this out real quick. So n is a negative number, so let's do like negative 2. Um, so I want my numerator to be as big as possible, right? So what if I did 6 minus negative 2? That gives me 8, so that's the biggest I can get it. I also want to divide by a smaller number, so that would be um, negative 2. Because if I got negative 6, if I did by 6, 1.33. But remember, I'm trying to find like the biggest value, and it's taking the absolute value already. So even if I get like -4, it's gonna be 4. So yeah, that would be what I'm trying to find. So it would be p minus n divided by n. That would be the answer. All right. Imaginary numbers. Okay, let's go. So we have I think we just have to break this apart. So I squared, that's the same thing as -1. I cubed, that's -1 times I, negative I. Okay, that's the numerator. I cubed, oh, we just did that, so that's negative I. Um, I to the fourth, that's the same thing as I squared. So that's +1. And then I to the fifth is just I. Um, so okay, so yeah, that works. So then these two, I'll just actually keep that there. I minus I in the numerator cancel, so we're left with -1. Negative I plus I is the same thing as 1, and then we're left with -1, so that's our answer. Okay, which are the following? Okay, let's get these into standard form. So 2y is less than or equal to -x plus 6. That is the same thing as y is less than or equal to -1/2 x plus 6, or 3. Okay, and then, okay, I'll get rid of that. And then, so this is going to be a circle, I can tell. I can divide everything by 3, so that becomes x squared greater than 12, 4 minus y squared. And then I can just add y squared plus y squared greater than 4. Okay, so did I type everything right? Plus, yeah, okay, looks good. Um, okay, so the line is gonna have to be a straight, like a solid line. So it can't be B, can't also be D because that's like it has a negative slope, right? So it can't be B, can't be D. Um, hmm. Oh, also, this is centered at the origin, right? So this is the radius. Radius square root of 4 is 2. And this has a y-intercept of 3. So they cannot touch. So A can't be it, B can't be it, and D can't be it. So it's either between C and E. So, hmm. Okay, so as you can see, E and C are the exact same thing almost, but the opposite is filled. So like the top is filled here, E is filled at the bottom over here. Um, so what I'm going to do, let's sub in the point for the first equation, 0, 0. If the condition is met, then the shaded area goes there. So if I sub 0, 0 into this first one, y is 0, x is 0, and that just multiplies out to be 0. And then yeah, so this condition is true. That means that works, and then E is correct. Okay. All right. 57. AC equals 1. B plus C is over D is okay. First thing I'm seeing here, if this is undefined, I certainly know that D has to be 0 because if a fraction um is undefined when you're dividing, I know that the denominator has to be 0. And then the other thing is AC equals 1, ABC equals D. And I know D has to be 0 because it's undefined. And so if AC equals 1, that means B has to be equal to 0 because once B is 0, AC times 0 is 0, D is 0, and then that's undefined. So it's kind of like a loop thing. Okay, which of the following represents this function? Okay, first thing, so amplitude, that's like the highest it goes and the lowest it goes. I can see 1, 2, 3. The highest it goes is 3. Um, so it can't be A or B. The other thing I'm seeing is that this full period here is completed um, at pi, whereas for a regular cosine function, it usually takes 2 pi to complete the period. So I know it's going like twice as fast, essentially. So I know it has to be e, because the amplitude is 3, so the 3 is the coefficient in the front, and then it's 2x because it's going twice as fast. Okay, so okay, this is a law of sines question. So law of sines is, and then equals sine b over b. So I'm trying to find the length of the string, and okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find this other side, because for law of sines to work, I need to have an angle and side length pair. So I'm going to do 180 minus 75 minus 45, which gives me 60. So this angle up here has got to be 60. Okay. Um, yeah, so based on that, I can do sine 60 over um why am I blanking? Okay, sine 60 over 240 equals sine 45 over x, because I'm trying to find the length of the string, right? I don't know what that is. So now I'm just going to cross multiply. X sine 60 equals 240 sine 45. Oh yeah, and then I can just take this and then divide by sine 60. I don't know why it's doing that, but I'll just toss it into my calculator. So 240 sine 45 over sine 60. And then as you can see, I get 195.9. So I know these three can't be it. Okay. Let's try 60 square root 3. No, it's 103, so it has to be 80 square root 6. Just double check. Oh yeah, okay, that's right. Nice. And then the last one, publisher charges 15 for the first copy ordered and $12 each. Okay. Cost of Y books. Okay, so I know the slope has to be 12. Um, or at least like, the cost per book. I'm saying slope, but cost per book. It has to be 12 because each additional book is $12. And I know if I order one book, the total cost has to be 15. So if I sub Y equals 1, 12 times 1 plus 3, that gives me 15. If I have two books and I sub that in for Y, I should be able to get 27, 15 plus 27, right? And so that works. So I know that has to be my answer. And yeah, nice work, Dan. Let's go and submit. Okay, I got a 20, but like, we skipped, we'll skip 31 questions. Oh, I got this last one wrong. Oh, I skipped it. Whoops. I think I said A though, but yeah. Anyways, sorry about that. But like, yeah, we did get everything right. So that last one, I think I forgot to click it or something. But it should have been 12y um plus 3, right? Um, but yeah, sorry, I forgot to do that. But like everything else got 100%. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and follow us. And I also run a website and a tutoring company called LearnFellow LLC. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, so we help students try to get their dream SAT and ACT scores, and we have student tutors who know the ways to get there and their strategies, which they'll share with you. So If you want to learn more, go ahead and click the link in the description and check out our website to learn more details. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I appreciate your time today.